Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Bold You, a show that is dedicated to inspiring everyone out there to play bigger in your life. And that does mean you. And I promise you that sometimes playing bigger doesn't mean that you are financially more abundant. It means that you are using your gifts, your talents, your experiences, things that have happened in your life to make this world a better place. We want to inspire you to be bolder, which means that you do have to step out of your comfort zone. It means you do have to do things that you don't want to do for the better of all man and womankind. And we want to help each and every one of you to become the best version of you so we can make this world a better place. I believe we live in a world where there is a war between good and evil, and the only way evil wins is when good people don't do enough. So every Monday at 3 p.m. Central, we have a fabulous new guest and a topic that is meant to make a positive impact on the world by exposing and helping educate and become aware of how we can make this world a better place. So today is going to be an incredible show. We are going to hear a story and of a triumph, hope, and healing, and how we can make a better place for those people suffering from depression and the families and the loved ones that so love and adore them. We have got here an incredible story to share, and we're going to start by sharing a very special video.
Like looking back on everything, I'm like always like, how did I miss this? How, like, I go through every day and I'm like, how did I miss like my sister like being so sad? I was over here playing football and she was fighting for her life, and I can't speak right now. Gosh, I'm sorry.
You want to take a couple minutes? Ella Elizabeth Thomas was born on April 19, 1993. Named after singer Ella Fitzgerald, she was a fighter from the beginning.
She was 9 weeks premature. They said if she lived, she would be very sick and only had a 50% chance of survival and probably would not be well. And she was well.
And what was her reaction to having a sibling?
She loved it.
She loved it.
Very first thing, baby, sit up. And then she just started singing them Twinkle, Twinkle at the top of her lungs.
She was a great big sister.
She was like kind of my caretaker. When we were together, we always had the best time ever. One of our favorite things was like kind of watch movies. We'd go play basketball, you know, kind of just chill and just talk about life. When you're around her, you felt love. You felt some sort of this energy around you that lit up the room.
The Thomas family appeared to be happy, but things aren't always what they seem. By the time Ella reached high school, she was struggling.
She was off the charts ADD, played basketball, and that was wonderful for her and helped to keep her focused. But school was hard, and social groups were hard.
How did those issues present themselves?
Sometimes just time in bed, just being sad, I guess.
In 2011, Ella began her freshman year at the University of Arkansas, but dropped out 2 years later.
She like came out and told us that she was fighting depression. It was just like kind of this sadness kind of just lived in her, and she couldn't get out of it. She was like, it was like she was trying to run from it, and it kept catching her.
It wasn't until 2015 that Ella revealed the traumatic event that changed her life forever. During her sophomore year of college, while attending a fraternity party, Ella was raped.
You just want to protect your baby girl, and I wasn't able to protect her and take the pain away. And it's something I'll never forget as long as I live.
Kind of started making sense because from there on, that's kind of when everything changed with Ella. She couldn't sleep. Her anxiety was crazy. She'd just shake sometimes, nightmares, PTSD, couldn't be happy, blamed herself. She wanted to let it go, but she couldn't escape it.
In 2017, Ella was a fixture at Levi Stadium during Solomon's rookie season. The Thomas family spent September through December cheering on number 94.
It seemed like a wonderful time, and now we know it was a sacred time. Because after that, everything unraveled, and it was bizarre.
After Christmas, her moods were switching really bad. I would always ask why are you so sad? Or why are you continuing to be so sad? And she was like, I just can't be happy. She's like, it's not there.
On January 23rd, 2018, Ella Elizabeth Thomas took her own life. She was 24 years old.
I feel my heart hurting. It just hurts. All the time it feels like it's being squeezed.
Every day I pray, thank God for the 24 years we had with Ella. I wish it could have been a whole lot more. But she was a fighter, but she at least made 24 years. She wasn't supposed to make it past 6 months. But I still miss her every day.
How are you doing?
It really depends on the day. Some days I see the light at the end of the tunnel. Some days
In June, just 5 months after Ella took her life, the Thomas family participated in the Out of the Darkness Walk in Dallas, a nationwide fundraising event put on by the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Every step, a step towards healing, in memory of Ella.
When Solomon first asked us about this interview, he said, do you want to do it? And I said, no, I don't want to do it. I said, I'll do it. Because if it helps one person, it's not going to get better by not talking. So we have to talk about it.
What do you think she'd be saying to you right now?
Get your shit together, Mom. Sorry.
No, she would say, toughen up. Go out and do something good. Make something better. Don't be miserable. Live. And I think going out and trying to make a difference and help others gives us a purpose.
everyone's going through something that you don't know about. Depression, anxiety, whatever you're going through, and it needs to be shown. I feel like this is my way to honor her, to raise awareness and try to help other people's lives and other families.
And in studio with us today, we have Martha and Chris Thomas. So please welcome to the show. And I can't tell you from the bottom of my heart how humbled and appreciative I am that you two are here talking about something that is so personal, so raw, but it's going to help so many people's lives. And in that video, one of the things that stood out to me and touched my soul so much, Martha, was when you said Solomon asked you if you would do the video, and you said, or if you wanted to do the video, and you said no. No, I don't. I don't want to do the video, but I will. And I want to know, where does that will come from, and what is the platform that you and Chris and Solomon are working so hard on that we can add to what you're doing and make an impact in this issue?
Really just getting the word out that it's okay to talk about your mental health. It's okay to talk about things that aren't going well. Everything isn't a social media post. And if we don't talk about it, it's never going to get better. Nothing's ever going to change. I would never wish what we've gone through on anyone else.
Oh, no doubt. And the thing is what people don't realize is how many people are suffering in silence, because we still live in a world where, to your point, and what we've been discussing before the show, is there's a stigma associated with mental health, but that's the quality of our life. So I want to know how the video came about. How did that come about, Chris?
Well, Molly Knight from ESPN did an article with Solomon, and then ESPN took up on that article and wanted to do a video with Martha, Solomon, and myself to show on Monday Night Football. And so we went and did the video back around Thanksgiving time, spent time on the Niners facility to do the video. And as people saw earlier, it was a good piece to talk about the importance of talking about mental health and trying to avoid suicide.
And as we were talking about, between the age range of 15 and 30,
35.
35,
34.
34,
Yeah.
suicide is the number 2 cause of death.
Yes.
It's the number 2 cause of death, but it sure isn't getting that much publicity for us to talk about how we, each one of us, can make this issue better. And I think, before we get into some of the things that you're working on, let's just talk about a little bit of who you two are and share some of your family background.
Yeah, so Martha and I met at the College of Worcester in Worcester, Ohio, back in 1981, I think it was. And we've been married, it'll be 40 years in June, 39 years in June. 39 years in June.
Listen, Martha's saying no.
No. I think we're on 34, babe.
34, well,
Hey, listen, Dave doesn't, I don't even know if he knows our anniversary. I just have to tell him,
I know it's June 16th.
That's right.
But we've been married a long time. We've had the pleasure of working with multiple companies, living across the world in the U.S., Chicago, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Sydney, Australia, Stamford, Connecticut, and then Dallas, where I had a lovely opportunity to work with your husband, Dave, at Frito-Lay. So, so we traveled around, had 2 kids. Both kids play a lot of sports. We traveled out around the world to Spain and Alaska, Nova Scotia, all different places, just traveling around. I'll let Martha tell you a little bit about herself and the relationship as well.
Where I'm a middle school teacher and stayed home for several years with the kids when they were young. And I don't know what
Right. No, listen, I'm telling you, staying home with kids is definitely, I think, the hardest, most rewarding job there is. And then going into teaching is another very challenging, difficult job. But listen, the children are our future, and we're supposed to pour into them and give back. And I think that, listen, what the two of you are doing is you have to just do more than just talk about the right thing to do. You have to do the right thing. And people do what other people do, not what they say. So what it is that you're doing right now is tremendous. And that's really what I want to go into now is you had your life before January 23rd, 2018. And now you've got your life now, which is the new normal. And you've taken such a personal tragic story, and you made a decision that, you know what, we're going to do something. And what is it that you're doing?
Well, the key piece is trying to get out and talk to people about mental health awareness, suicide prevention, making sure people understand that mental health is as important as physical health, and that it's important to take it and keep it as a priority. It's also important to make sure we support each other, make sure we talk to our kids about how they're feeling, and making sure that they understand all the signs of being depressed, and make sure that the right support systems in place to keep them healthy, strong, and vibrant. So that's part of it. The other piece is we've been working with Solomon and the Niners and AFSP, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, as well as San Francisco Suicide Prevention, to talk about raising resources, awareness, funding to help provide the right tools and platforms to help people stay healthy and to get the support that they need. So that's a lot of the work we've been doing. Solomon, the Niners, and Martha have worked on a couple public service announcements, PSAs, to help bring awareness. Those have been airing out in the San Francisco area, where, as you know, Palo Alto's got a fairly high suicide rate. So Solomon's been doing talks there with the high school there, working with the Niners, working in the community to help bring that awareness out.
Right, because the way my mind thinks is, I think that if we want the world to be a better place, then we, each and every one of us individually, we have to be doing something. We can't, again, just talk about it. We have to do something. So with this issue, what are some things that we can do, whether it's parents, what can we do with our kids, whether it's leaders, teachers, what can we be doing? Is it just constant conversation with as many people as will listen to us? I mean, what are some of the things that you two have come across that you have thought, man, we can't solve all the problems in the world, but doggone it, if we could do X, Y, Z, it would make a difference?
I really think getting us to focus on mental health. We all have mental health, but we don't treat it like our physical health.
Right.
We don't have doctors set up for our mental health. We don't have resources set up for our mental health. Many of our employers don't treat mental health like it's a necessity, and it is. And we need to have those things in place so that it will help prevent extremes.
When one of the things that I do every year, I have a signature event, and this year it's May 4th, and I've actually got a doctor that is speaking. He's board certified in 6 different areas, and one of his specialties is the brain, because it controls everything. And to your point, that if we're not taking care of our mental health, and it's not a priority, not just for one person, but it's a priority for everybody, because let's face it, nobody wants to be singled out. That's one of the reasons why people don't share their depression. They don't share that they're feeling overwhelmed. They don't share that they have anxiety, because they don't want to be singled out. And I think, to your point, Martha, what you said, if we could turn the focus to, it's not just let's talk about mental health for someone that might be suffering. Let's put mental health as a priority for everyone. No one's singled out. We're really treating people, their hearts and their minds first.
Right.
And then that's just as important, if not more important, than our physical health. And one of the things that we've talked about on this show, and that we've talked about before the episode today, is I truly do think that love and kindness is paramount, that we have to treat one another with love and kindness, because we don't know what someone is going through. So I know that one of the things that you're working on is you've got Ella's Sunflower. And when I saw that, it's beautiful. I know we've got a picture of it Ziggy's going to bring up, but I want to know what this is all about. And I know Ziggy's going to pull it up here in a minute here, but tell everybody what that is.
It is a painting that a friend of mine did. Her mom had done the outline, and Nicole saw it. She was going through her mom's things right after Ella died, and she, when she came to Ella's service, she had this, and she wrote down words that Solomon said about Ella from her service.
Wow.
And so last year when we did the Walk Out of Darkness, we put that on the T-shirts. One of Ella's friends took it and had T-shirts made for all of us. And it's really kind of become a symbol. And sometimes just looking at it, Solomon has the painting up in his house. Nicole sent it to him. And but it just is a reminder of this great force that Ella was.
Yes.
And continues to be.
Exactly. But one of the things I loved so much in the video at the very end is to be sharing things. It's such an early part of your healing. I said it's a little bit crazy, and y'all are a little bit crazy. But you said, but Chris, you said because that's what Ella would want.
Yes, absolutely. To turn this, pain into purpose and passion to help others. And one of the things I like to do is go back to your comment about, what else can we be doing to talk about mental health as a priority. One of the things also is talking to schools and churches about the importance of mental health and making sure that becomes a part of the curriculum. People know that you should be talking to each other to, try to help each other out and, talk to each other every day to make sure that people understand where they're at. And like Martha said, don't take on the social media posts of everything's great and fantastic. To really talk about your concerns, your pains, your joys, your issues, so that people really get real with each other and talk about the real things in life.
Yeah, I think that social media is a good thing and is a curse, just like everything else, because I do think sometimes people, they try to portray their best self, and there's not anything wrong with that, but it's not real.
Right.
It's not real. And if everybody knew what was going on in someone's heart and in someone's mind and what they've been going through, I think we'd be in a better place. Right. And I think it's really important. And I just, you've got this beautiful family, and you've got Solomon, who I'm not gonna lie. Now we cheer him on, and when he went through the draft, another one of our friends, Jamal Adams, went through the draft, and it was the most exciting, fun draft that I've ever watched, and probably I will ever watch, because we had both of you there, and Solomon was picked number 3, and then Jamal was number 6, and. But you look, and what I think is incredible is how, Solomon is using that platform and it almost realizing that it was a platform that was so purposeful because he was going to use it to make a profound impact and difference. And not only have all 3 of you done that, but you're being recognized with an award, and this is just the beginning. I mean, tell everybody about this award.
Okay, well, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, AFSP, is going to be recognizing Solomon in our efforts of suicide prevention and mental health awareness at the May 7th Gala in New York City. And Solomon and Kate Snow are, as well as Anissa Cooper and 2 other doctors, are being recognized at this award. And I think it probably epitomizes the work that Solomon is doing, as well as what we're doing to help make a difference in people's lives. Like Martha said before, we wouldn't wish this on anybody else, but how can we help this? How can we help others avoid the kind of pain we're going through, and help others get through the darkness that Ella wasn't able to get through? So that's going to be happening in May. He was recognized in April in San Francisco for a San Francisco suicide prevention award for the work he was doing in the Bay community out there with the PSAs and talking to the Palo Alto students and just the national work he's been doing. He flew a kid out to a game whose father had died by suicide in San Francisco to help provide some support for his family and the little kids. So that was really good. So that's really, I think, important work, and we're proud to be able to be recognized, but we're hoping that our work gets to a point where others don't have to go through this kind of pain.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, here's the thing is, call me idealistic, but I think that we can do that. I was in a meeting not too long ago, and it was a boardroom, and there was probably about 25 of us. And there was a gentleman and he said that he was in another boardroom few years past, and he said, there was a person at that meeting that said, I want to make a difference in an issue, and not just make it better, but I want to eliminate it. And he said, as this guy was sharing, he said, never in my life did I ever I never even thought that we should have that as a goal, that we eliminate. And if we get enough people pulled together, I mean, we can. And I think that, like I said, I mean, this is the very beginning of your journey. I can't even imagine the lives that you've already touched and the lives that you're going to touch in the future. So with everything that you've been through, what do you believe so far has been the most impactful thing that you individually have done that you've said, you know what, we're gonna make an impact?
Yeah, I think part of it is just we've been working very deeply and intently with AFSP to help raise funds through the walk that Martha mentioned is going to happen in June. But there are also like 450 walks across the country, and I can't remember how many are in Texas, but the local walks raise a lot of money as well. So one of the things I've been trying to do since not being back in corporate America since Ella's passing is trying to work with AFSP, Grant Halliburton Foundation, SFSP to help raise money, because raising of money helps as well as bring awareness, increases awareness, but also helps bring tools to kids and schools to help improve the mental health platform. So that's a big piece, and I'm also looking to go out to corporations to try to raise funds so they donate some of their charitable funds that they have set aside to mental health and suicide prevention, and I think all that will help make a difference.
I know, you got to have money. I mean, you got to have money. I mean, that's all there is to it. So,
And for research.
Yes.
Research is huge, because if, for cancer, any other physical ailment, there's money poured in for research. And a lot of this, I mean, there's things that they found in the brain that are
Right.
very similar among suicide victims. There's all sorts of things that they see when there is actually money for research.
and that's a very interesting thing. And this doctor, Dr. Lee, that I've spoken with, we had Michelle Grimes on the show. I've decided that at least one show a month, we're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about mental health because it's a priority. We have to be talking about it. And when I was talking to, Dr. Lee, he said, very similar to what we're talking about right now, but everybody needs a brain scan. Everybody needs a brain scan. And because with a brain scan, we can see if there are parts of our brain that aren't receiving as much blood. I was talking to him, and he said, anxiety, worry, depression, if we scanned the people's brains, we could see exactly what's happening. But it's very expensive.
Right.
And insurance doesn't just cover it. Hey, but it needs to. It needs to.
Most of us have limits on our mental
Yes.
health, on our,
Exactly.
you can have 4 appointments or
Right, exactly.
you know.
4 appointments and you're
And you're
cured.
better.
I mean, that's right. That's all you need is 4. It doesn't matter what you're going through. But it really, it's sad because insurance really does drive healthcare.
Correct.
To your point, that if your program says you get four,
Right.
you get 4 sessions and that's it, and let's face it, people they can't afford it.
No, you're right.
They can't afford it,
Right.
and so there really does need to be a change. And with the work that you two have done, what are they doing with research regards right now? They're just raising money, and with that private pay money that's being raised, they're doing specific research on the brain so they can at least start to identify, hey, look, but how do people get tested? I mean, honestly, it's like,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's even things like knowing what age groups are most at risk, knowing that middle-aged men are a very, quickly growing rate, knowing that it cuts across all socioeconomic, racial groups, cultural groups. It is not a easy fix. But,
Right.
You can't just say, well, this group does this or this. It's very broad. And so to be able to look at people's brains, to be able to study things, to be able to know that you can actually train your brain early on
Exactly.
before you're at a crisis point.
Exactly.
That if we're constantly doing that and making that available and accessible to people, that it makes it not so bad.
Right.
Maybe you don't get to that
right,
extreme
exactly.
crisis point.
Because, here's the thing. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. We have to talk about it, because it's when we talk about it that other people are going to start to share. We have one of our children's, one of his friends' mother had committed suicide. And, it took a year before they were friends, before he knew, because it happened. And so here is somebody suffering with this for a year, that his mother had happened. And then he told his friend. And then, of course, his friend was my son, and my son came and told me. And now we've been working with the girls, but people don't talk about it. People don't talk about it. And it has to be okay. I think there's, to me, there's two sides there. Well, there's really three sides. You've got the people that are suffering in silence. You've got the people that aren't suffering, but we don't know what to do. That's why I think kindness and love is so paramount, because if we just have a blanket rule in our life, be kind to everyone, be nice to everyone, be loving to everyone. If everybody would just have that blanket rule, then the world would be a better place. And then it's the research. So it's, and I'm sure there's more. And then the money, we have to raise money.
Exactly.
And right now is the AFSP, the primary organization that's doing all the work.
Yes,
They are.
And they're also doing a lot of work on advocacy, because one of the things you mentioned earlier about is insurance. So how to go to Capitol Hill and the state capitals to make changes in insurance laws and rules and regulations so that mental health is treated as well as physical health. The other key piece is research that Martha mentioned is how do we also make sure that we're getting the right information to the people who are taking care of our patients in the hospitals, because
Right.
I think like 7 or 8 out of 10 people who died by suicide were actually talking to a mental physical health specialist in the emergency room, and they were let go. So it's important to train those people, as well as the teachers who are obviously seeing these kids on a regular basis.
Even GPs.
Yes.
I mean,
Right, even the GPs. To me, I'm part of an organization called Passion Dallas. And one of the things we've just started, and one of the things we said is we as a group have to take on a cause that we make better in our city. And to me, every city needs a task force. Every city needs a task force. We can't, in my opinion, and I'm a little bit crazy too. My husband is always like, I don't know why you think you can do all that. And I'm like, because I'm a little bit crazy. But to me, I think we can't wait for somebody else to do it.
Right.
We can't wait for the government to do it. We can't wait for another group. We can't. And that's what I think is so incredible about what your family is doing. I mean, your entire family is. We have to start now. We have to do something now. So even if you're within the city, if you're within your church, within your school, and you say, I want to make this problem better, then stand up and say, hey, let's have a task force in our school. Let's have a task force in our church. Let's do a task force in the cities. I mean, if we've got one organization that you can plug into, then we can rally around with these 4 major topics and help make it better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. One of the things I keep thinking about is when this first came up, after Ella's passing, and the Niners called Solomon and Martha asking, do you guys want to talk about this publicly? And I'm so proud of the fact that Solomon stood up and, with Martha, said that we're going to talk and make a difference. We're not going to hide our head in the sand. And one of the things he's doing is working with his sports agency, CAA, to figure out how to way to combine the work he's doing with like other work people are doing, like in the NBA, like Kevin Love and DeMar DeRozan, to help make mental health a top priority. And so he's been trying to help support that, as well as, you know, working on supporting and leveraging key apps like what's called Mindspace. Is that the app that helps?
Headspace.
Headspace? Okay, they have an app, Headspace.
Yeah, which
Okay, I
helps
love
mental
that.
health awareness.
Well, it's a meditation
yes,
app.
yeah,
And so basically it helps to teach you how to meditate.
yeah,
You know, and allows you to teach you how, you know, to clear your mind.
And you know, I mean, see, these are the skills that need to be taught in school.
right, exactly.
I mean, and I will say this: my younger son that, you know, he's suffered with depression, you know, situational, you know, and that's the thing is there's all sorts of different types of depression. You know, you've got clinical depression, you've got situational depression, you've got depression that can come because of medication. There's all these different types of depressions, and you know, and it can be just a split, just a little space of your life where you're dealing with that, and it can totally change your life forever. So that's another thing is I think, you know, you could be sitting there right now thinking, oh, well, I don't have a problem with that. I'm fine. But then something happens in your life, and then you're devastated, and then you find yourself in a hole, and you don't know how to get out of it. Well, he came home from college for spring break and said, you know, Mom, one of my professors led us in a 10-minute meditation, and he said it was incredible. And I was so excited because it really, meditation works. There are definitely therapies, and there are definitely techniques that can be used to help. So there's it's a very big cause, but we can make a difference.
Absolutely, yeah.
We can definitely make a difference. And I think what your family's doing is amazing. And I know that Ella's helping along the way. I mean, you know, I know that she is. I'm sure you feel her along the way. And this doesn't have to happen to more people.
Absolutely.
And I think that the two of you are doing an incredible job. I think Solomon's doing an incredible job. And I know that for myself and everybody out there, we can make a difference, and we can do more. And we will provide some information and suicide prevention hotlines and some the Headspace and some other apps and websites that you can go to help make this cause better. Is there anything you two would like to close with?
The only thing I'd like to close with is there's another app that I'm working with. It's called Joyages, that is something similar, helping people cope with, you know, issues they're dealing with on a regular basis. And I'll have more information to share with you for the show. But the other piece is just making sure we talk to each other, making sure that we, you know, really hold each other up, hold each other accountable to making sure we take care of our brother and our sisters, and making sure we give them the love and support that they need, because that's what it's all about. And I know that's what Ella would want us to say, because that's what she did her whole life. Is she was always a person helping other people out. I just wish she could say some of it for herself, you know, but just making sure you do that and have compassion and a true, genuine, and loving, God-loving heart. So that's what I would recommend.
Yes, and I think it's really important, Chris, what you said, because I do think there's a lot of us that we give everything away, and we don't keep enough for ourselves. And I think of it. I think that it's like we wake up every morning and we have whether it's a cup of water, whether it's a gallon of water, whether it's a big old tank of water, we've got a capacity to give. And sometimes we give all our water to everybody else. And then we don't have, and we don't have anybody else pouring into us. And so no matter who we are, we need people pouring into us as well as us pouring into other people. So
Self-care is number one.
yes, exactly. Self-care, and that is so true, and that's how we're starting the event on May 4th. Is self-care number one, self-love number two, and they go hand in hand. I'll tell you what, you too, and Solomon, and everyone that you're associated with, you're doing great things, and we're honored to be a part. And I promise you, we're going to make a difference. We're going to make a difference. So with that, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for sharing your story. And we're gonna keep you updated on the results and the impact for good that Solomon, the Thomases, and Ella's doing for so many people in this world to make it a better place. So until we meet again next Monday at 3 p.m. Central, be big, be bold, and most importantly, be you. Bye-bye.